Welcome again back to the Hoodie CEO channel, and I'm just going to be talking about part 3 of lessons to future landlords. So, the last couple videos, we talk about the lessons I've learned as a landlord and things that I thought about improving on and things that I wish I've not have done. So, this is going to be part 3 of lessons to future landlords. So, I just wanted to go out and talk about a few more things that I've learned as a landlord over the last couple years. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So I think one lesson is to be communicate, like have a big communication with your tenants. So that would be number one today. So be sure that you're communicating with your tenants, checking in with them, making sure things are running smoothly. See is there any way that you can improve the property, figure out ways that if things need to be fixed, if things are leaking, or if there's some type of bug issue or anything like that, try to address that as quickly as possible. So keep that open communication with your tenants. I usually try not to talk to them too often, but of course I'll check in every once in a while, maybe like once or every 2 months, just to see how things are going, making sure like roommates are somewhat getting along. I know people, as you get older, it's harder for people to get along. So the older tenants you have, I feel like there's more likely to have problems probably. But just depends on the individual. So definitely just have that open communication. If they're going to be late on rent, which is a pretty big red flag, but making sure they let you know so you can kind of expect what to get your money in order to expect that. But still just having that open communication. I still always agree. This is with almost anything. More communication is better than less communication. So always keeping that lines of communication, if it's via text, email, phone calls, just to make sure that everything is running smoothly and that things are being handled correctly and swiftly. Talking about late payments. So one thing I wish I would have done is kind of like kill all of late payments, or kind of just say like, if you're gonna be late, then I'm gonna have to find a new tenant to kind of do things quicker. Only thing about getting a new tenant, it does take some work. Is probably, I say probably about 20 hours of work I think it may take to find someone new. Maybe a little bit more, because I did have to do like tours and stuff like that. And usually they say like business, it's like 3 times more expensive to find a new employee versus to train a current one. But with people who start getting in the habit of making late payments, that is definitely a red flag. So I would definitely try to, number 2 lesson would be kill any late payments. So gotta make sure they don't get into the rhythm of paying you late as a landlord, because if you're okay with them paying you late the first couple times, they start making the rhythm of, oh yeah, I don't have money on this day, or blah 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 blah. So you gotta come up with a whole bunch of excuses. So you want to definitely kill those excuses as quickly as possible. I know we're all human, so sometimes we may be late, and I know even like banks get a grace period, but I definitely don't want them to get in the habit of that. So I would definitely say keep that communication open and just say, hey, if you're going to be late again next month, then I may have to start looking for new tenants to take your place, because I do have X, Y, and Z bills that need to be paid, and those bills are dependent on you paying your rent on time. So I think having that conversation with them is definitely important. So that number 2 lesson would be to stop any type of late payments, or making sure that if they start doing rent a little bit behind schedule, try to kill that as soon as possible and start looking for new tenants, because that would definitely get you in trouble. Something I had learned the hard way. Number 3 would be evict quicker than later. So that goes back to the second lesson with killing the dead payments or the late payments. So if they start making late payments over and over again, then you may want to have that conversation with them. And it might be pretty hard, it might be difficult, but start probably looking into ways that you can probably evict the individual. I know during COVID, they had basically a law that you couldn't evict individuals, and thankfully that is actually over. I had an issue with one of my tenants. I tried to evict them. I think put in the request in like August of 2021, and they didn't really get out the house until December 2021. So that was 4 months of them just like lounging around, not paying me. My hands were tied behind my back. I couldn't even get a court date or any of that stuff. I was calling like once a week, once every 2 weeks, trying to see when I could get a court date, and then finally, in December, they was able to give me a court date, and I was able to go ahead and get that tenant evicted. But hopefully that process doesn't take that long. It was backed up because of COVID. I forgot what it was called when you couldn't evict them. Maybe someone can leave a comment below to let us know what it was called, or I can address it in the next video. But yeah, definitely try to evict people. It's an annoying process. I really don't like evicting people. That's why I say you want to have open communication. But they start making payments late, if they're starting to do things around the house that isn't good, like tearing stuff up, or if you like come in and fix something, you see like there's trash everywhere, or any type of red flags. And just like when it comes to employees, if you have a business, you want to fire fast, hire slow. It's the same thing with finding tenants. You want to find the right tenant as slow as possible. Don't rush into it. That's one thing I've learned as well. Maybe that's another lesson I could talk about later. And then the next thing is to make sure you evict them sooner than later. And there's a lot of risk come to evictions. They can like tear your house up because they're mad, or X, Y, and Z. But that's why you have the court on your side. So definitely evict quicker than later. The fourth lesson I would say is fix things quickly and swiftly as possible. I know with houses, there seems to be always something going wrong. There's like every single month, I feel like when I'm renting out my property, there's something different that's going on. It can be like the sink. It can be bug problem. It can be like something that's leaking, or the sink or the tub is stopped up. Something always going on. I don't know why. I guess that's the nature of like real estate. And I also have like a pretty old house, so. But definitely you want to figure out ways that you can get those things quick done and fixed fast. So if you're a handyman yourself as a landlord, you can just go in there, fix some things up. I'm not the best handyman, so I usually hire somebody. But you do want to address those things as quick as possible. And the sooner you address it, the better it is in the long term. And also you can help make the property better for the next tenant. So I always look at it like as a learning experience, that if something breaks, I can fix it right the first time, and I don't have to worry about it for hopefully the next 5 to 10 years. So definitely try to address those things quickly. I know sometimes as landlords we get lazy with fixing stuff because it's like another expense coming out of our pockets, and the whole point of renting property out is to make money, not to be trying to fix everything all the time. But you definitely want to figure out ways you can get those things done quickly. And for the fifth lesson, I'm on number 5. On fifth lesson, I would say have a contractor that you can work with that you can basically call and say, hey, I need this done in a week or 2. Can you come out and fix this? What's the cost? All that great stuff. So be sure you have like a contractor on call. For most of my experience, there really isn't a need for like overcall stuff just yet. Haven't had, I think there's one issue where the gas was messed up, where we had to get somebody to come over super quick to turn the gas off, so there wasn't any hazardous. But outside of that, I don't think I needed anybody to come over like in the same day to fix something. So luckily I haven't had that type of big issue yet. But I would definitely say you want to find someone that you can work with that is very dependable, who can come out in like less than 5 days to fix something. And I would say have like 2 or 3 of those contractors out there, just to have those people you're working with. Sometimes it's hard to find the right contractor partner, but if you can find that right person that is pretty affordable, who does a great job, we try to hold on to that person as much as possible, because they are definitely hard to find. So let's do a quick recap. You want to make sure you're communicating with your tenants. You want to make sure you try to dead all type of late payments. You want to make sure you evict quicker than later. You want to fix things as quickly as possible. And number 5, you want to have someone that you can work with as a contractor to fix those things swiftly if you can't do them yourself. So those are another quick 5 lessons I've learned as a landlord, and I wanted to bestow that wisdom upon you guys. And as I said, I may come out with another lesson of part 4 of Lessons to Future Landlords. So just tune in for that. thanks you guys for viewing this episode or this video. So I appreciate that. And with that, I will say goodbye, peace, and have a great day.